I would say if we were out in the street, we probably would have had a fight. I do know that there's a history there of their defensive coordinator. I'll leave it at that.
All right, we've got Coach Billick with us. Coach, you heard Mike Zimmer there, and I know you had tweeted something out right after you saw this press conference there of his displeasure, I guess I would put it, about what took place there with Teddy Bridgewater. First of all, your take on the play, was it dirty? And second of all, what do you do as a coach in that situation that Zimmer's in?
Well, it's hard to say dirty because you can't, like, I'm going to sound like the league now and the officials, but you can't determine intent. It was illegal. It will be fined. And big time. So there's no question about that. So it was an illegal hit. Whether it was dirty, the guy came in there with, to use a Mike Carey term, with malice in his heart. Let's put it that way. And you can understand the response by Mike Zimmer. It was an emotional response because here his team is battling. Carolina's taking care of Green Bay, so they're in the thick of it for the win to go after the division. And he's having to look out there and see his quarterback lying on the ground unconscious. So you can understand the emotional response. And in fairness, yeah, he took a shot at Greg Williams in St. Louis, but that's Greg Williams' fault. Greg Williams, via his actions, has put him in that category to where people can refer to that. After the game, Jeff Fisher said, look, that's not the only time we're going to see a quarterback illegally hit. So I get that. It sounds like there's maybe some bad blood between Mike Zimmer and Greg Williams that goes far beyond this play.
Coach, and thinking about bad blood, but some of those issues that you may have encountered in your past. Look, because your Ravens group was a testy bunch. And when Jeff Fisher was with the Tennessee Titans, you guys would go head-to-head and toe-to-toe. So when you're taking on teams like that have a reputation for being kind of physical and menacing like that, how do you approach that with your team, and how do you approach that prior to the game leading up to the contest?
Oh, you make it clear, guys, you better tape your ankles and grab your backside because it's going to be that kind of game, and to think it's going to be anything but that. You alluded to a very physical series. I remember going in there for the playoff game when they ran a montage of some of the things I had said and up on the scoreboard prior to the game to get the fans worked up. And I looked to my guy, I remember seeing Tony Saragusa say, okay, guys, it's on. You better know what this is going to be about. And Goose said, Coach, we got your back, and we upset him there. And that was obviously went on in the Super Bowl year to win it all. In a year that Tennessee, this was their year. They were going to win the Super Bowl. So yeah, you better be ready for that kind of physical play. But the hit itself and the way they went about it, it's kind of hard to the tone that's set by a coach. You want to eliminate that from the game? It's real simple. Don't only find the player, find the coaches.
There you go.
When we have an unsportsmanlike conduct like that, okay, we're going to find the organization. We're going to find you as a coach as well. You'll get it out of the game.
Yeah, Coach, I want to move on now. You talked a little bit there about, Bucky was talking about those old Titan days with the Ravens. I want to go to the Titans team and a tweet you had about the perfect execution of their game-winning touchdown pass from Mariota to the tight end, a little misdirection there, throwback to the tight end. We called it, when I was in college, we called it just tight end hide. Sometimes you'll see that tight end fall on the ground and then get up and go across the field, and this place just kind of held his block for a while and then leaked out the backside. Is that one of your favorite play calls down there when you get into the red zone?
Yeah, it is, because obviously when you a play like that, play action is what? By design, it's deception. And when you do a play action pass, a lot of people think, okay, we're going to play action and we're going to get in behind the linebacker because he has to react to the run. Well, a lot of play action, the master of it used to be Peyton Manning, is you got to move the safeties a little bit. You got to displace them from the field a little bit. So those dramatic play fakes that allows a quarterback to get out and come up with one of those kind of plays. Plus, it's a play that when you pull it off, notwithstanding at the end of the game, and it can win the game like we're talking about with Tennessee, but it just it cuts at the heart of a defense because now they begin to question everything they're seeing. All their keys, am I seeing what I'm seeing, and is this setting something else up? And you begin to second guess yourself as a defense that as an offensive guy you love to see.
Coach, I want to, real quick, Buck, I want to ask Coach one thing. I'm going to test your memory. I'm going to test your memory now and see if you can remember the play call. We used to run this in Baltimore all the time when we had Marcus Robinson, and we also, I think he even scored a couple touchdowns with Clarence Moore, the blast from the past. or you just sent him straight to the goalpost, and it was really kind of quarterback is just it's throwing it up. It's going to go through the uprights if it's going to be incomplete, or you're going to have somebody catch it. Do you remember the play call of what you used to call that down there?
Oh, well, we used to call more big drink. I used to call him because he was a big drink of water. And I said, just here's what you're going to do. You're going to put it up on the rim. And down in the red zone anymore, what are we talking about? The ability to go up and take it off the rim. That's why we like these tight ends. That's why we like these big receivers, because it's such a restrictive zone. And you're right. We had a big one in big drink. I'm not sure it wasn't called just two-jet big drink, to where it was to make it very, very clear to the quarterback, I want the ball thrown to this guy. And let him go get the rebound. Don't try to be too accurate. Don't try to be too cute. Just put this up, and I want him to slam dunk it into the hoop, just like you see a good point guard leading up to a center in the middle of the basketball.
Two-jet big drink. I'm going to change my Twitter handle from Move the Sticks to two-jet big drink, Coach. That's beautiful.
I like it.
Coach, during the Packers-Panthers game, you tweeted out a little thing about Eddie Lacy, and you talked about Eddie Lacy may be among the league's most disappointing performers so far. So when you look at him, what is it about his play that really disappoints you?
Well, other than the general lack of productivity, he's gotten a lot bigger. We know that. Part of all of our faith in Green Bay coming in was going to be obviously Aaron Rodgers, who's spectacular, and their ability to throw the ball, and they were going to be better on defense, but legitimately able to run the ball when they want to run the ball. I think Mike McCarthy, when he turned the play calling over to Tom Clements, that was going to be something that he really focused on to orchestrate. And I think the biggest stark difference is you could see when they put Stark, the kid from Buffalo, in there, and how productive he was, patient, setting up, slicing back, and then you put Lacy in. And now he doesn't match up well against probably one of the most physical front sevens in Carolina, but Lacy just doesn't look with that extra weight. He's punishing, but he just doesn't seem to be athletic enough to move, to kind of get out of the way enough. Very disappointing in where he is right now running the ball.
Bucky, I want to ask you real quick, go in the time machine, because I remember us having this conversation at Eddie Lacy's pro day. I believe you went down there for his pro day, and that was one of the things that was a major concern with him was his body type and his weight. Coach,
if you go back, when we go and we have those meetings in the spring after the workouts are done, one of the things that concerned me at his pro day, he couldn't finish the workout. He wasn't in great shape, and he looked real soft and kind of fleshy at the workout. And I took a lot of criticism because I was like, I just don't know if you can invest in a guy who at the time, it's the biggest day of your life to work out with all the coaches. He doesn't show up. I wondered if that would come back and kind of bite them. When you're looking at the evaluation process and you hear those reports from your scouts, how seriously do you consider how someone looks at their pro day when it comes to conditioning and all the other stuff?
Yeah, you have to, it's on two different levels. Is it motivation? Okay, then you got to question the heart of this kid. Or is it, you're exactly right, Bucky, just body type. There was any number of players that and DJ knows we had the best in Bill Tessendorf, that in our training staff that would come in and say, whether it's an injury or the type of thing you're alluding to, yeah, this guy's going to be fine, but for a short while. He had such an experience, he could look at the body and know this kind of body, whether it was going to be he breaks down, or as you're alluding to, I remember with Dante Culpepper, we had that big concern because it was when we were looking at him, they're even in Baltimore, and we ended up decided to go with Chris McAllister anyway instead. But okay, yeah, this guy's can be pretty good, but you could just tell his body type and his demeanor and the way he was that when he got big, he was going to stay big, and it was going to be hard then to pull that back once a guy. And it sounds terrible, but there are body types, and I think that's what you're alluding to, Bucky. That just this guy, I don't know that he's going to be able to fight back through it. So it's a very legitimate observation.
I won't say this about these guys we've just talked about, because I can't remember being in the room, listen to people read reports, and we would talk about as scouts, people having fat potential. And then I've had to put myself in that category, Coach, as I get older. I'm realizing that I've got fat potential here. You got to be careful as you get a little bit older. Last question I want to hit you on, though. You had a tweet about Julio Jones and just how much fun it was to watch him play in that game against the San Francisco 49ers, and it got me thinking, okay, I know the guys I enjoy watching on tape, and there's kind of, college guys, pro guys, but there's sometimes you put on the tape, and I always say you can kind of kick your feet up, get yourself a Diet Coke and some popcorn or whatever, and just enjoy the tape. Don't even have to take notes. They're just fun guys to watch. So, Coach, I want to get your Coach Billick Fun Bunch team here. Your guys you really love to watch on tape.
Well, and I'm even enjoying it even more now because I do get to watch him a little bit more as a fan. But Julio Jones is up there because this guy is just so dynamic. He's the combination of physical, explosiveness, athleticism, and when you meet the guy, he's a fabulous guy to be around because you can see the resolve, just how spectacular he is in terms of everything that he does. Matt Ryan having Roddy White all those years, but now knowing to go to Julio Jones, and he's just fun, and it's like watching Larry Fitzgerald to me. You just have to enjoy it.
All right, Coach, if I'm going to go though outside of Julio Jones, can you give me kind of a collection of players, not just Julio Jones, but maybe 4 or 5 guys that would make your all fun bunch Coach Billick
well,
team
and you
to
can
watch?
see the list. Aaron Rodgers is just an avatar for what you want out of the quarterback position. Everything that he does, you could not clone a more smooth, although he's had a tough couple of weeks. Le'Veon Bell, the combination of what he does out of the backfield and running the ball, I've long said I think he's the best back in the league, although it was great to see. How about Deangelo Williams and what he did with Pittsburgh, both out of the backfield as well. Julio Jones, we just talked about. J.J. Watt. Thing I like about J.J. Watt, on any given play, as a defensive coach, you can look at it and going, what the hell is he doing? He's leading with the wrong arm. He's jumping around blocks. He's doing everything you don't coach a guy to do, and all he does is totally disruptive. Luke Kuechly, you can't say this about many linebackers. He plays the run and the pass equally well. He's just such a smooth. I love watching him take a tight end down the middle and baiting a quarterback into thinking he can drop the ball over his head and turns around and snatches it. And Charles Woodson, just for the amount of time he's been done, it reminds me of Rod Woodson when we had Rod Woodson when he transitioned from corner to safety. You know, what on a football field has this guy not seen? And he just seems to always be around what's going on. And you know, I'm 61 years old. I love it when a guy that's as old as I am is still playing in this league.
And playing at a pretty darn high level, that's for sure, Coach. Well, hey, I don't know if you've seen this, but, Coach, each and every week when we have you on, my Twitter handle blows up. I know Bucky's does as well. Coach Billick, easily our favorite person that we have on Move the Sticks. People eat it up, and you make us a lot smarter when you join us on here, Coach.
I appreciate it, guys. Always good to talk to you.
All right, well, before I let you go, I want to make sure everybody checks out Coach Billick's new article this week on NFL.com, Toxic Differential Through 8 Games. I'm not going to let you explain it, Coach, because I want them to be intrigued by what toxic differential is. You have to check out NFL.com and read Coach Billick's article. Thank you, Coach.
Sounds good, guys.
All right, that's Coach Brian Billick. I do enjoy it each week, Buck. He's such a good guy, and he's got doesn't take himself too seriously.
No.
And we can have some fun with Coach Billick on here each and every week.